The Saturday night game, the Packers and the 49ers. With under 8 minutes to go, Green Bay held a 4-point lead in this one. First down from the San Francisco 24-yard line. And from there, it really all fell apart if you were a Packers fan in that moment. You go 3 and out from then on. Missed the 41-yard field goal, and that's what everybody's talking about. You know, regardless of the many other mistakes that were made, the many other bounces that didn't go Green Bay's way, the thing that everyone's focusing on is the Anders Carlson 41-yard missed field goal. And look, the Vikings had Daniel Carlson, who is one of the better kickers in the league right now. Everyone remembers when he went into Lambeau, missed 3 kicks, cut immediately. I saw a great Vikings blog that said, you can never trust a Carlson, which, it's tough. I feel bad for Anders, but, proved to be a critical miss. And then it was sort of a death by 1,000 cuts drive by Brock Purdy in San Francisco, going 3 for 3 on third downs. Nearly every first down, they're picking up chunk yardage, so they have second and third and shorts. You're hoping you could get a stop if you're a Packer fan, but it sort of felt inevitable too with the playoff collapses they've had. Ultimately comes down to McCaffrey touchdown, Jordan Love interception that looked a hell of a lot like Brett Favre's interception against the Saints. Rip, one of the worst moments in the history of my football life. And now you looked at your 5th straight loss against the San Francisco 49ers in the playoffs, allowing them to have their first win when trailing by 5 or more points going into the fourth quarter. 0-30 previously under Kyle Shanahan.
That's a dumb stat.
It is a dumb stat, but it's still, it's still an eye-popping stat. 0-30? You're 0-30 in anything.
Yeah, that's silly. I'm sorry, that's a silly stat.
So let's talk about this, Ziggy. If you were a Packer fan today, all right, there's 2 ways that you look at it. One of them, you have to have massive disappointment because you didn't expect to be in this game. A lot of Packers fans didn't. Some did. The ones who did were right. But to be that close, to have that many things go against you and still have a shot to win at the end, it's crushing because you never know when you're going to get back there. But on the other hand, the approach that most Packers fans are taking, and it's a good approach to take, is, holy crap, we made the divisional round in a rebuilding year with rookie and second-year wide receivers and a first-year starting quarterback who lit the world on fire for half the season. Which side, 24 hours, 48 hours out now, are you more on if you were a Packer fan?
It's tough to know what it would be like if I were a Packer fan because that's just so inconceivable. It's difficult for me to put myself in the headspace, but there's plenty of time for the offseason. I think right now, I pulled up, I was curious what the Packers website had to say. They had 5 takeaways from the game against the 49ers. Bullet point number 1, this one hurts.
It should.
And, maybe, in March, we'll start doing draft coverage. That's when you can start looking forward to next year. But March, 24 hours or 48 hours after losing a game like this, there were so many opportunities, right? You had 3 drives into the red zone the first half, 6 points. Darnell Savage dropped a pick 6 that looked like it was going to be just like Dallas. Nixon also dropped a great looking interception.
That one could have sealed it too. That one, there's still a lot of time left on the clock, but that was in 49 territory.
Would have been great. There were just a couple critical missed tackles, right? Remember that missed tackle on the Kittle into the missed tackles on McCaffrey that let the 49ers just go straight down the field?
2 plays, yeah.
Yeah, and then Anders Carlson, who LaFleur said before the game, he said, when Carlson's on the field, I just pray that he makes it.
Never a sign that you want to have for your kicker.
Yeah, however you feel about the power or efficacy of prayer, that is not an appropriate way to manage special teams on an NFL level. And it just didn't work. So with that many missed opportunities, I think you can't help but feel pain. You would have been going to Detroit for a rematch, a game the Packers know they can win. The Lions would have probably only been 3 or 4 point favorites. There's a lot to be excited about. But at this point, I think, Paul, how long did it take you to get over that Brett Favre interception?
Ziggy, I'm not over it now.
So it's like you can't just move on.
Ziggy, I watched that game 2 months ago. I told this on the show before. I watched the game 2 months ago, and I turned it off mid-overtime, said, F this shit, and walked in my room and shut the door. I was by myself. No one was home. I just sat in my room by myself. I'm still not over that game. That is...
So, expecting a Packers fan to be over it. I get that they've had a lot more success than us. They can't be over it in 24, 48 hours. But as you say, right, there's a lot to look forward to. All those missed opportunities means that next year they can be even better. Jordan Love will be better. The offense will probably be better. The defense will probably be better. There's no reason not to expect improvement in every aspect of their game. The upside's there. You just got to wait a little bit of time to see it.
This is sort of not even on the Packer topic anymore, but ranking the top 5 franchises with the brightest future, Ziggy. You hinted at that during the Texans segment. Who are your 5 franchises with the brightest future?
So when we're taking brightest future here, I think you have to consider lots of things, right? I take it to be over the next, say, 5 to 10 years, all things considered, how do we think the franchise is going to do? It's not like who's the most improved. It's not who's ascending. It's who do you think is the brightest future?
Let's say the next 5 years. Who do you want to be a fan of?
I think 1, 2 is easy. Number 1, Kansas City Chiefs. Number 2, San Francisco 49ers, right? Like, I know we like to sort of count up on our lists, but those 2 are just indisputable. They're the best teams in their conferences. They've got young, exciting quarterbacks. They've got great players at lots of positions for the 49ers, and they've got one of the best players to ever play the game in terms of the Chiefs. I think that's indisputable. Now is where it starts to get interesting. Number 3, I have the Green Bay Packers. Now, it's not surprising to see a blue sky franchise this high on the list, a franchise where it seems like ever since they traded for Brett Favre, absolutely everything goes right. But you've got Jordan Love. You've got a great offense with lots of exciting young weapons. You've got a lot of great defensive players who I think with a better coordinator, you're going to unlock some more of that talent. The team in an alleged rebuilding year really just had a rebuilding month, made the divisional round, took a team with the second highest Super Bowl odds to the wire. You have to be excited if you're a fan of the Green Bay Packers. Number 4, also perhaps not a surprise, Houston Texans.
Okay. I like that.
There are a lot of teams that this is where it starts to get really tough for me. But the thing about the Texans is they've got CJ Stroud on a rookie deal, right? In his first year, he already looked like a star. The defense is much improved. And the kinds of players who are ascending, guys like Derek Stingley, Will Anderson, are players you're going to get a lot of production from in the future. The coaching is really great. I worry a little bit if Slowick leaves this offseason that you might see a bit of a hangover for the first half of next season, but they'll figure all that out and be good. So Texans are at number 4. Now, number 5 is the absolute hardest for me. I really didn't. There's so many teams that you could put here.
There are a lot of teams that can make this top 5.
I'm afraid to say the team I really think, Paul.
Say the team. I want to hear who you really think.
Everybody, there are a lot of teams people are going to want me to say here, and I'm going to get lit up by fans of a certain team in Baltimore in the comments.
Oh, wow.
Number 5 is the Indianapolis Colts.
Wow.
This is all projection. Right. I admit this is all projection. And you can look, you're entitled to light me up here. The Ravens have Lamar Jackson, MVP of the league. They're playing in the conference championship. They got a great coach. They got a great defense. I think this is the year for the Ravens. But starting next year, the AFC North is always tough. Burrow's going to be back. Bengals fans are going to be mad at me too. I've been saying
there's a lot of fan bases that should be mad at you right now.
I believe in Anthony Richardson. We've learned that Shane Steichen was the offensive engine of the Eagles, and we saw what he was able to do with Gardner Minshew on the Colts. They're going to figure out the defense. They've got $1 million in cap space. I keep saying $1 million because it's a big number. They got $1 billion in cap space. I don't know how much they have. It's too much. And Anthony Richardson, we saw little flashes. When he comes back, he is going to be next year's success story. I really believe it.
Okay.
Is this take reasonable? I'm just going to say no. It is not reasonable.
No, it's not.
But I honestly believe it. And that's got to count for something.
yeah, that's to count for something. I think the Bills are in that lower end of the top 10 just because they have Josh Allen, but they're older. Cap space is not good. So I don't think I'd have them top 5. Bengals could probably be right there with Joe Burrow. You didn't mention the Chargers. I know you don't like them, but I think the Chargers, they're going to get Jim Harbaugh. And once they bring in Jim Harbaugh with Justin Herbert, I think that is a very bright future with Justin Herbert.
Paul, picking the Chargers a lot like picking the Vikings to have a bright future. The Chargers are the paradigmatic black cloud franchise in the NFL. The roster is an absolute mess. It's going to take at least a year to fix it. And as much as I believe in young quarterback Justin Herbert, the cap hits are going up. We haven't seen anything to suggest they're going to get the general manager position in order. And it's just going to be tough for them to get it done.
Is it crazy to question you on the 49ers at 2? Like I think that they are an aging roster with a quarterback I don't particularly trust in Brock Purdy. Kyle Shanahan is the best thing that they have, in my opinion. He's the most valuable asset on that team.
You have a top 3 head coach GM tandem with at least a very good young quarterback. They have shown that they can run a functional offense over and over again. I mean, look at what they did with Jimmy Garoppolo. The second he leaves the 49ers, he looks terrible. I am extremely confident that Lynch and Shanahan can continue to put together excellent rosters of excellent offenses and good defenses. You just can't argue with the track record of success they've had.
No, you can't. You can't. Because I actually think I'd have the Ravens at 2 with Lamar Jackson and that, like, you know, they have some older guys on defense, but there are some great foundational pieces along the way. John Harbaugh is one of the top 5, top 10 coaches in the NFL.
I mean, look, the 49ers have made the NFC Conference Championship game or better 4 years in a row.
Oh, no, they are fantastic.
Not 4 years in a row, for the last 5 years, excuse me. 2020
they have been fantastic.
Year.
I might go Chiefs, Ravens. Oh, we're going to put the Packers or 49ers next.
You have to go 49ers. They've 49ers, just had too much.
Then probably the Packers. And then I'm sitting there with the Texans at 5, probably. That would be my top 5. But I think the Chargers are right there. I think the Bengals are right there as well. You have to with Burrow. You have to. They're just amazing.
I'm saying wait until next year, Paul. Wait until next year. You're going to see.